Thank you, Judge. Madam President. Please state your name.
Eric Barnes.
You're the same Eric Barnes who's been testifying in this case.
Yes, sir.
I just want to do one more thing with you before I let you go. I'll show you what's marked in State's Exhibit number 383 and 384. Have you had an occasion to look over these?
Yes, I have.
I know these more things dealing with the phone that was taken from Mr. Love at the time of his arrest.
Yes, yes, it is.
We'll offer State's Exhibit 383 and 384.
Okay.
Admitted.
Commissioner Polish?
You may.
And Detective Barnes, we look here on State's Exhibit 383. Are we looking at a snippet of the call logs that show that 8:26, there's some phone calls or actions with his phone around the noon hour?
Yes, sir.
And when we've plotted that, and the jury's already heard about plotting that location, that shows up to be plotted right around the location of Ms. Hatcher's house. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And this is on, like we said, August the 26th, which in our offense date is September 2nd. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Looking at State's Exhibit 384, again, some more activity with the Love phone on August 31st, 2300 hours. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So this would have been 2 days before the offense. And there again, it's hitting right at a tower close to Ms. Hatcher's apartment. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And in your conversations that you had with Mr. Love, you've given an opportunity to explain why he might be in that location. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
This is before you even knew you had him at this specific location based on his phone. Is that right?
That's correct.
Did he ever give you any kind of indication why he would be at that location?
No, his his response was that he never leaves Oak Cliff or the area around his residence.
I'll pass on this. No question.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down.
Thank you.
State call Ashley Turner.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth? I do. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Turner.
Hello.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Ashley Turner.
And are you related to Kendra Hatcher?
Yes, I
In
am.
what way?
She's my sister.
How many years or how much time separates you and Kendra?
13 months.
Are you older or younger?
I'm older.
What I want to do is talk to you a little bit about Kendra's life.
Okay.
It'll take a lot of time.
Okay.
But I do want the jury to have an understanding of who she was.
Okay.
And I can tell you're already starting to cry.
I'll try not to.
Okay. Well, it's natural.
Okay.
If you need a break, just let us know.
Okay.
All right. First of all, I want to kind of talk about your core family.
Okay.
And we've already heard from your mom. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
My mom had 5 children, so I have 4 brothers and sisters.
All right. And who's the oldest?
Jamie.
And about how old would Jamie be?
Jamie's 42.
And the next child would be?
That's me.
Okay. How old are you?
39.
Okay. And then Kendra?
Would be 38.
And then we finally get to your brother, is that right?
My brother Neil, he's 36. Sorry, Neil.
Okay. And then you have I guess we call her a half-sister, but you don't, do you really consider her your half-sister?
No, she's my baby sister,
Okay, and that's, what's her name?
Melissa,
And how old is she?
26.
And that was from a second marriage your mom had after having a family with your father.
Correct.
Let's talk a little bit about growing up. Where did y'all grow up?
We grew up in the country in central Illinois, a little town called Pleasant Plains, on a ranch out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. And what's the biggest, closest town to you?
Springfield, Illinois.
And when you moved out to this kind of ranch area, did you have other family members that lived out there as well?
My stepdad's brothers lived nearby, but that we were separated by a good distance in between each house.
Okay. But it was a lot of family, a lot of time. And what was life like as far as for Kendra and the rest of y'all growing up?
Gosh, we spent a lot of time outside playing together, playing with our animals. We had a lot of animals, and Kendra loved the animals. We had 2 dogs that we loved probably the most of all of them. We would swim a lot and play hopscotch, jump on our trampoline, go swimming. But the 5 of us were really always together.
And active in school and school activities?
Yes, very much. I think all of us were. It was a small school, and if you wanted to be on the volleyball team, you could be on the volleyball team. If you wanted to be a cheerleader, you could pretty much be a cheerleader. Kendra, though, never just settled for, I'm going to be on the cheerleading squad. She wanted to be the captain of the cheerleading squad. She wanted to be the captain of the volleyball team. She wanted to be, salutatorian of her class. She didn't want to ever just settle for anything. She strived for excellence at everything she did.
She was involved in those sporting activities?
Yeah.
Cheerleading?
Cheerleading, volleyball, National Honor Society. I believe she was president of the Thespian Society, president or vice president of the Spanish Club, madrigals, which I know my mom talked a little bit about. It was a singing group, concert choir, swing choir.
Very, very involved.
Very involved, yeah.
And the rest of you all were as well?
Yes.
The rest of y'all were pretty good students, just like she was, all right?
Yes.
And then time came for graduation, and she went to college. And where did she go to college?
She chose DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana.
And do you know what she studied there?
She majored in Spanish and minored in biochemistry.
Why did the Spanish, tell me about that. What was her draw towards the language, the Spanish language?
I think that at the very beginning of it was her cheerleading coach was also our Spanish teacher, and they had a special relationship, and during cheerleading, the coach would talk in Spanish to them, would talk in English, and she loved it. And very early on, I think most schools require 2 years of a foreign language. Kendra was like, no, I'm going to do 4 years. So she did 4 years of Spanish, and then when she went away to college, she kind of continued with that, and she wanted to travel and go to Ecuador and go to Spain and learn more about the Hispanic community and learn how to speak their language more. So that continued.
So it's kind of a driving factor in her is this love for the language and the people. Right?
Correct.
So your mom had mentioned, she had said something about her love language or language of love was service, is that right?
Very true.
And when she was in college, did she do some trips to mission trips or service trips?
She did. She started those in high school with Bible school and building churches. We would travel to Missouri and just kind of some local places to help build churches and to do backyard Bible studies for children that were in lower income communities where they necessarily couldn't get to, a church. So we would go and get them and take them to church. And then in college, she would spend her Christmas breaks and spring breaks traveling to do things for other people. Her spring breaks were always Habitat for Humanity, where she built houses and Colorado and Florida and South Carolina. And then Christmas breaks, she would go to Ecuador or to Spain to get medical treatment.
Okay. And then eventually that service kind of moved into her career, is that right? And going on to dental school.
It did, yeah.
When she graduated from dental school, where did she move?
She moved to Texas.
Is that there again part of this whole the Spanish warm culture, the getting in this part of the country?
Yes, she went to several different places and she fell in love with Texas. I know she checked out California, she checked out Florida, she checked out Texas. Her options were very open. She was a very intelligent woman. She was bilingual. I think Texas had more to offer as far as the Hispanic community that she loved and wanted to serve. So that's how she ended up in Texas.
Okay. And then she lived in Houston for a little bit?
She did.
And eventually made her way here to the Dallas area.
Correct.
And then we heard from Ricky and her falling in love with Ricky. Would you classify it as her she falling in love with Ricky?
I would, yeah, for sure. We talked all the time on the phone, and it wasn't uncommon for her to tell me about a date that she had, but I never got a lot of detail. It was just I had a date, or, I went to this game and I talked to this guy. When she met Ricky, it was definitely different, and she couldn't wait for us to meet him. And sorry.
Was she planning on bringing him home pretty soon after this?
They were planning a trip to Mexico, and then the following weekend they were coming home.
Was that kind of a big step for her and for y'all?
Yeah, we had not met any of her boyfriends, so it was a big step.
Did you think this was a different relationship than she had in the past?
It was. She was talking about getting engaged and moving possibly, which Kendra was very independent, and she wouldn't have discussed that if that wasn't the plan. So.
And moving to California where Ricky was going to be going.
Correct. Yes.
Now, you're married, is that right?
I am.
And you have some kids.
I do. Mm-hmm.
And then your husband also has a child from a previous marriage.
Yes.
And then Neil, he also has a child.
He does.
And then Jamie has
2 sons. Yes.
what was it like for Kendra to come visit her nieces and nephews?
That's what I miss the most.
She didn't have any kids of her own.
She didn't. I think it was getting there, but up to that point, she would tell me if I had a child of my own, I couldn't focus on other children. And so that was her plan for later in life, but it wasn't her plan at 35. She hadn't found the right one. And I think that it would have gotten there, and I think it would have happened quickly.
Because she does have such connection with them.
She does, yeah. Her nieces and nephews were her life. I mean, every birthday, she would call and she would sing and send presents, of course. She was my daughter's godmother. Yeah.
Y'all have sent me, we asked for some pictures from, and y'all sent me a ton of pictures, is that right?
We have a lot of pictures.
Okay. And a lot of those pictures, it looks like your kids or the nieces and nephews, they're all wearing Kyle's gear. Gear.
She did. Every time that she went to the airport, she would find something for my children and the nieces and nephews, something for them to wear. The last time she came home, she brought Jensen a dress with cowboy boots on it, and it had a little pink tutu, and so they got a lot of pictures together in that.
And I'm hoping Jensen's one of your daughters.
Jensen's my daughter.
Okay. Mr. Approach. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 363, 364, 65, 366, 67, 368, 369, 370, 371, 372, 373, 374, 376, 377, and 380.
Okay.
Are these all pictures involving the life of your sister?
Yes.
We'll offer these exhibits.
There are no other petitions other than those previously stated.
Thank you.
Like I said, you all sent me a ton of pictures, I just picked out some
Okay.
to go through, okay? First is 363, who is this?
That is Kendra K. Hatcher, about age 3.
Is that about the age of your, how old's your daughter now?
My daughter just turned 5.
Okay. Do they resemble each other?
They do, a lot. Yeah.
364, who do we see in these pictures here?
To the left is our oldest sister, Jamie. Neil's next to her, and then Kendra, and then on the end with the eyes closed is me.
Lots of pictures of the four of y'all at that age. Melissa hadn't come around.
No.
Moving on to high school, what is this picture of here?
That was Kendra for National Honor Society.
Okay. And you can, well, is this Kendra right here?
Yes.
And she got quite a few honors and awards and things of that nature, is that right?
She did. She worked very hard.
366, is this her high school graduation?
That is her high school graduation, yes.
Okay. Is this her over here on the end?
Yes.
Now, you had said that she had taken some time and liked to spend her vacation with working on Habitat for Humanity.
She did.
367, do we see her here doing that type of service?
Yes, that was for Habitat for Humanity.
And I think this is the trip to Florida, is that right?
That was Florida.
368,
I believe that one's Florida also.
a group of people, I think, is this her here on the end?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said that she had spent some time going down to Ecuador.
Correct.
Tell me about that. What was that for?
She went with a group of college students from DePauw University, and there were 3 groups that the students were split into. One of them was medical, one of them was building, and I can't remember what the other one was. And Kendra was put into the medical group. So she went there and treated children with different skin infections, parasites, scabies, things like that.
369, is this Kendra here?
Yeah.
And she's helping us get over here.
Yes.
370,
I believe-
again, she's administrating, it looks like she's giving some sort of medicine or something.
Yes.
371, it looks like she's got like a little doll in her hand here.
Yes.
Remember, they were giving out dolls to the kids?
Yes, before they went, some of the college students spent their own money to buy items to take down to give to the children. And one of the things that Kendra was really proud of was taking the dolls to the kids.
Then she graduates from college.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We go over here at 372, is this her on the end?
Yes.
Seems like every one of these graduation pictures has got something extra draped across the neck, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
373, is this y'all's family?
That's all 5 of us kids at Christmas one year.
And here's, that's Melissa.
That's Melissa.
And,
That's Kendra.
okay. 374, is her graduation from dental school.
That is her graduation from UK Dental School, and she's with our mother.
376,
Yeah.
who is this?
That is Kendra with my nephew Graham and my son Rowan.
Is this Rowan Peak?
Yeah. Yes.
That's Graham.
That's Graham.
Whose mom is Graham? Is that
Jamie.
Jamie? Okay. your older sister. 377, is this those same two boys?
Yes, Graham and Rowan.
And a lot of activities like this, boating, having fun, just taking the kids out.
Yes, we went out for Mother's Day on a boat and spent the day with our mom, and she got to spend the day with her kids and her grandkids for a few hours, and they, of course, Aunt KK was there, so they had a good time.
Says good at 380. Who's that with Kendra?
That is my niece Josie. That is Neil's daughter.
And there's the Hatcher family and the rest of your mom's family. There's a lot of y'all. Is that right?
There's a lot.
And not all of them. They're pretty much up in the Midwest or up north. Is that right?
Mostly, yes.
Can't all be here. They would all want to be here, right?
They all did want to be here, yes.
In fact, I think this trial being streamed, you know a lot of them are watching this trial, keeping up.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you do have a family member here, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you point out and tell us who all is here from y'all's family?
From our family. My baby sister Melissa is in the front row.
Okay.
My husband is to the left of her.
Okay.
Okay, to my left. To the right is her, Kendra's best friend and colleague, Tammy. Our brother Neil is behind her.
Okay.
And my mom and her husband Dave are in the third row, fourth row.
You still see Ricky's here, and Rosie's back there to testify over here.
Her friend Kim is here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I think it's kind of obvious to say, but y'all miss Kendra.
We miss her a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think when we met, you were desperately trying to find a video of her laughing.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I just wish she could walk through the room and do it for you because it was so... Just Kendra, she had this laugh. And I think if you asked anybody who knew her, one thing they remember most or miss most, it would be her laugh. She was full of life and full of love and just gave everything she had to everybody. And when I heard that this had happened to her, I know I'm getting off topic, but I couldn't imagine who would do it. I couldn't imagine who would hurt her because nobody disliked her. Nobody would have hurt her that knew her.
When was the last time you got to speak to her?
I talked to her the day before she was murdered. She called and talked to my kids, and she made plans with them that they were going to buy pumpkins and carve pumpkins when she came home. That was the last time that I talked to her.
So tell me, just briefly if you can, how has this changed your family? How has it impacted your family? Your sister Jamie's not here. Why is that?
Jamie is unable to be here. She was the oldest of all of us, and I think as an older child, she always felt protective, and she couldn't protect her sister. And it's torn her up. She's suffering from PTSD and has several physical illnesses that have manifested because of this. Our family will never be the same. This doesn't happen in Central Illinois. We didn't know that evil like this existed. Kendra had no idea that she was being watched for months. She never would have even questioned it.
The most important thing on her mind was just getting the message.
And getting home to see her nieces and nephews and her family.
I'll pass on this.
Mr. Arnold, we're sorry for your loss, man. We have to.
Tammy Pantano.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Please tell the jury your name.
Yes, my name is Tammy Pantano.
Could you spell your last name to the court reporter?
Sure, it's Pantano.
Ms. Pantano, where are you from? You're not from the Dallas area, are you?
No, I'm from Kentucky, born and raised.
Okay, where are you currently living?
I currently live in Dunkirk, Maryland, just outside of D.C.
Ms. Pantano, what do you do there?
I'm a dentist, and I have a dental office in Clinton, Maryland, also outside of D.C.
So it's actually Dr. Pantano.
I answered anything.
Dr. Pantano, I want you to turn around to your right and look at those two pictures that are on the wall. That's State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit 2. Who is that?
This is Kendra Hatcher.
Dr. Pantano, how did you know Kendra Hatcher?
Kendra Hatcher and I met on the first day of dental school. It's super awkward, no one knows anyone, and we sat next to each other, and during initial introductions, everybody's going around talking about themselves, and she says that she majored in Spanish, and I said, I have a degree in Spanish, and she said she studied abroad, and I said, I studied abroad, and she did mission work, I did mission work, and that was the beginning of it. We had a lot in common. We both were very driven, very goal-oriented, and both very dedicated to our studies.
Well, I first want to talk about Kendra, the State's Exhibit 1, Kendra, the person, the friend of yours. Tell the jury what type of person, what type of friend Kendra was.
I wish that I had the words to describe to you who Kendra was, but there are not words that would do it justice. Kendra was the most generous, giving friend that I think anyone could have. She was the type of friend that you could call at 3 a.m. and she'd answer the phone without hesitation. She was always there whenever anyone needed her. She had the biggest heart, and Ashley touched on her laugh. Her laugh was contagious. It was just so high-pitched and full of joy that it would be hard to be in a room with Kendra when she laughed and not crack a smile, because that laugh just was contagious.
So fair to say during the time you guys were in dental school together, you became pretty close.
Yes.
Just so we kind of understand, how long is dental school? How long is that program while you're actually in school?
It is 4 years, but it feels like 10 years because you're in class with the same exact people from sunup to sundown, and then studying together until the next day and getting up and doing it all over again. We spent pretty much every weekend together in class, me and Kendra sitting right next to each other for many years.
So once graduation day comes, and did you guys go your separate ways, or did you keep in touch, or were you still friends?
Oh, yeah. The last time I talked to Kendra was a week before she passed, before she was murdered. And she had commented on my daughter's pigtails and how sweet they were, that she had curls, and said that she'd plan a trip to D.C. to come visit Ricky's sister and me before the end of the year.
Dr. Pantano, I think the jury's got a pretty good idea, and we all have a pretty good idea of what type of person Kendra was, but would you please describe to the jury, kind of explain to us what type of person Dr. Hatcher was?
She was an excellent dentist. Number one, Kendra was incredibly intelligent. And so came with that, her hand skills were very good. And I can say that personally because she has worked on me. And more than that, her people skills. She had a way of putting patients at ease, especially children. She would explain procedures to them, show them what she was going to do, and then do them. And she was very good with the kids. Kids loved her.
Dr. Pantano, you said you had spoken with Kendra about a week before she was murdered.
Yes.
I want to talk about the first time you found out that she had been killed. When was that?
I was working And I check my phone in between patients just to see if anybody called or texted, but I wait until the end of the day to return phone calls. And I noticed that my phone kept going off. And while I was working on patients, I was confused because I'm not that popular. My phone was just ringing and ringing. And then I checked it and noticed that there were missed calls from a lot of people I hadn't talked to in a while. A lot of dental school classmates, a lot of old friends. And then I made a comment to my brother, who runs my office, and said how weird it was that I was getting phone calls from people that I hadn't talked to in a while, and he immediately snapped and said, "Do not answer your phone." Then I knew something was wrong, and I said, "You have to tell me, and you have to tell me right now what is happening." And he came in my office, and he said that Kendra was murdered, and I did not believe him. I immediately picked up my phone and I dialed her, and it went to voicemail, and I dialed it again and it went to voicemail, and I don't remember a whole lot after that. I canceled patients until the following Monday. I couldn't drive. He drove me home and then Ubered back. And I looked at my husband and my baby girl, and I said, I'm not a functional person right now. I need some time, and I just locked myself in the guest room for probably 3 days.
Dr. Pantano, I know it's been 3 years, but how has this changed and affected your life?
This has destroyed her family's lives. The trickle-down effect, my life will never be the same. Never. This doesn't happen in our world. Kendra did not participate in drugs or crime or anything like this. She did not associate with questionable people. And to me, if you did the right things, if you lived a good life, if you were honest and kind to people, these types of things don't happen to you. And for Kendra to be murdered the way that she was murdered, there is no one safe. I don't feel safe. I am constantly looking over my shoulder. My husband's constantly telling me that our daughter can do things that I don't feel comfortable with her doing, even though I know that everyone else in the world lets their 4-year-old play outside. My daughter's an arm length away from me. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. After Kendra died, I couldn't do surgeries anymore. The sight of blood would just trigger me. I had to send out surgeries for probably 6 months, whereas I used to do full mouths often. It's getting better, but I don't think it'll ever be the same. I'm working on the anxiety and the fear and trying not to be that helicopter overprotective parent. I never was, but I don't know if that'll ever go away.
Dr. Pantano, how has it personally affected you? As one of her best friends.
I have a lot of rage and anger that I am not comfortable with. I'm not used to having anger. But I'm working through that. But that's uncomfortable for me. I don't do a lot of smiling anymore. I've isolated myself from a lot of my friends. It's affected my marriage, my ability as a mother. It's affected everything. And I'm not the only one. This is a butterfly effect. Kendra's murder has affected thousands of people.
Dr. Pantano, thank you for taking the time to answer my questions.
Your Honor, absolutely. We have no questions.
Can we approach?
Yes. All right, members of the jury, stand in recess until tomorrow morning at 8:30.
All right.